that point, there is no reason to hold back because they pushed way beyond where they should have. The question is that monster going to be controlled, discerning in where it directs what justice it seeks, or is it going to be just raging, completely out of control? That is where that balance is. That's where it's necessary. Because when you engage that very powerful warrior aspect in you, that no matter come hell or high water, you're going to win. Period. There's no way. There's no way. You always win. When they engage this aspect of you because they push too hard, is this aspect of you going to be bringing justice indiscriminately? Or are you going to be a surgical knife, cutting only what needs to be cut? I'm going to grab a couple tarot for you guys, and then I'll probably do maybe one more oracle card of some kind for you. All right, what does my collective need to know here in a little more detail? What synchronicities could you provide here for us today? In this moment, what else do they need to know? Okay. All right, we got a whole bunch here. Okay, you're not going to get someone that'll step in and take over with the Seven of Cups. You're not going to get the divine is going to. You have to find a way to balance without the training wheels. It would be a disservice to you to step in and rebalance it for you. At this point, it's time. It's time for you to show that you don't need them. You feel disconnected. You feel out in the cold. You're aware that the divine is not going to do this for you right now. And it's new and you're aware of it and you feel a little like out of sorts. There's something that's a little off, which is probably triggering the bias to be a little more in the negative side. Right? Not the positive, not the rose-colored glasses, more of the daywalker side. Where I'm going to keep my inner child completely isolated and alone indefinitely until it suffocates. What? Why? You're harming yourself on that side. That part of you deserves to be given to. And then we have the Knight of Swords here. Falling on your own sword when it's completely unnecessary. Have the higher view. And however slowly and methodical you have moved through this process, it's not the time for you to be slow and methodical, swift, spontaneous, move in a fashion that is unpredictable. Because you have become predictable, and that is why they are here. It's why they've thrown everything at you. And for all they know, which, by the way, the Russian doll layer, we throw this out there for you guys that are cross-watching. How do you know you haven't fallen perfectly into our trap? You believed we were predictable. You believed that you were smarter than the divine. You have no idea what's coming for you. You have no idea. The mixture of truth in with the lies and the desire to achieve and take that does not belong to you. Think that's not known, that's not seen. You think that we're stuck at making that final pinnacle that we can't move beyond it because of the shit that you've done. You don't know is what you can't perceive because you're not on the inside. 6 of Wands. You have no idea, and that's what scares you. Because you know something has shifted. You don't know what. And your worst fear, yes, I am right now speaking to the enemy, is that you have missed that this has already occurred. You're not working with divine. You have no idea. You've gone completely dark. You have a ginormous blind spot. You are restricted to only moving in one. Those that work with the divine, we move wherever we're needed. It's not just the black and white squares on the checkerboard. We move in shades of gray and many different degrees, many different tints and hues. We are everywhere. The divine is everywhere. And all of that knowledge is used to protect that is theirs, that belongs to the divine. And that is the truth. And the sword, Archangel's sword, the wisdom, the truth in this, that'll cut both ways. It'll set free and it will harm. So be the surgeon, cutting with a surgical knife. Find your center. Don't be a berserking rager, cutting and massacring and taking out everything. Be the surgeon. Find your center. Be discerning in where you cut. This is coming back to my awareness here for this point. I do want to highlight that just because you may be a female does not mean that you are not a fierce warrior. Does not mean the enemy may underestimate you if you're female. They'll think, oh, she'll never be in masculine energy. She will immediately go into, I must be, super compassionate, incredibly empathetic, and I don't want to hurt anybody. Of course you don't want to hurt anybody. But I will tell you, in human history, there have been a couple of cultures, and right now they have come to mind in their stories about their female warriors. The Celtic, the Irish, the Scottish. Their female warriors are the most terrifying to encounter on the battlefield. Because all of that rage, all of that anger, they finally had an outlet where it was completely acceptable to channel it. That is the surgeon's edge. This is where the feminine, the receptive, in her warrior stance, is the surgeon's knife. You should be afraid if you are the enemy on this side, because that scalp is coming for you. And you're not going to be connected to the energy. And that is the only way that this cutting is met energetically. This is not a condoning of physical violence in any way, shape, or form. This is a story. And you either identify with it or you don't. But that female warrior, yeah. That's why I say there's many things that we don't know about the feminine because of that. She's the surgeon's knife. Something that you've been watching my channel for some time, you know that my dad was in the military. And something he told me once, and it was perfectly mirrored in a movie. It's the fight scene at the end of Romeo Must Die, and he was fighting his brother. And he was so in his feelings, and he was so angry, and he was so hurt, and it was messing with his head. His brother was beating him. His brother was winning. His brother was probably going to kill him. And the concept of that, of all the innocents that would be harmed as a result, was acceptable. And you saw the moment where he found that center in himself, where he went from seeing red to going, you know what? It's not worth it. All of these innocents do not deserve me losing my cool, and I'm all that stands between them and him. So I have to let go of my anger and my rage and my being triggered because it's making me sloppy. Right? Now this is a man who's been to war, who's watching this movie with me. And his words, there is never a more dangerous weapon known to man than controlled rage. That is the surgeon's knife. And right after that happened, he very quickly and efficiently removed the threat. I'm not saying that this is something that you should do in the physical, but you can get really creative in the astral. But you be that surgeon's knife. You find your balance, and you stop being so triggered because it makes you sloppy and people end up hurt that are innocent when you get sloppy. So find your discernment and your center. And because you hear this and you know this and I know this and I'm a part of the collective and you guys are too, and some of you already know this, and this is stuff that you are living and have lived. The enemy that seeks to harm the innocent and where all that stands between them and the innocent, they have no idea what's coming for them. They think they're prepared, but they have a giant blind spot. And we don't. We don't. Now I'm going to close with one of these neurolinguistic programming cards because they kind of shake our assumptions a little bit. How you are possibly viewing this. You might still find yourself a little stuck. A little like, yeah, I don't understand how to shift this to be able to do that. How do I move what is so stubborn in me that I just can't find it within myself to choose to emotionally move beyond? It's the higher view. This engages a different part of your brain so that you can connect the dots. New behavior generator. You have that image there. Imagine the most powerful, disciplined, and successful version of yourself. How do they walk? How do they speak? What choices do they make effortlessly? When you vividly picture yourself embodying the behaviors and mindset you desire, your brain begins to wire those traits into reality. So what if you did find this center? How would you move? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you handle yourself? How do you feel about that? Is that something that you want to bring into being? And that right there, even asking those questions and answering them internally and within yourself and reflecting on them, makes it possible. You can decide not to go down that path, but for that moment, it was possible. Meta programs. That image so clearly. You send out and you receive vibrations and you are tapped in. There is both blue and red in here. This is the symbol to me of light and dark, yin and yang, heaven, hell, angels, demons. You have allies in both because the Creator, the Divine, created everything. And demons bend in need of the Creator. They do. They do. So you are balanced. You don't have a blind spot. You have that within you to do that, to see that, be clear in that. Meta programs are unconscious patterns that guide how we respond to the world. For example, thinkers prioritize logic and structure, while feelers lead with empathy and values. Knowing your own tendency and recognizing others can help to you. Wow, that's not. They had a little typo here, guys. Totally like ruined the whole rhythm. See. Mm-hmm. Something ain't quite right there. Can help you to communicate more effectively. That's how it should be there, but instead it's can help to you communicate more effectively. Maybe somebody was a little too much in like the meditation, like they needed to ground a little bit. Remember, even if there's ice or snow out there, it'll shock your system and ground you in the now. Even if it's not straight dirt you're connecting to, you're still grounding. A little levity, a little laughter to it. Oh my gosh, so many yin-yang symbols here. Contrastive analysis. Contrastive analysis allows you to compare two states, uncovering what makes one more resourceful than the other. For example, if you're confident speaking to friends but freeze in meetings, observe the difference in posture, tone, and focus. Once you understand the structure of success, you can replicate it so that you could then be just as confident in a meeting as you are with friends. You move your body into the relaxed state in your meeting, just like you do in a chill, relaxed hangout with your friends. Your whole system will begin to embody that same state of relax, at ease. Transformation. The power of suggestion. Wow. So keep your eyes open for synchronicities, symbols. That's pretty much all that's here, but they really want me to focus on this one. There's a phrase, if you guys are familiar with the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the mom is like, the man may be the head of the house, but the woman, she is the neck. And she determines whichever direction the head turns. You determine where you look. Your receptive energy that you choose to embody determines the direction that you are assertively choosing to move in. This is about what's going on inside of you. It's not about someone else. This is all what's going on inside of you. Your unconscious listens closely to everything you repeat, especially when you're not paying attention. Self-suggestion happens constantly. Start tuning in. Are your words planting power or doubt? Speak only what you want to grow. Are you receptive to getting on that awesome roller coaster ride that you haven't been on before and might be awesome? Or are you wanting to get on the same one that you know you really don't like and really want to get off of? I don't know about you, but I'm looking towards the new one. I know where I don't want to be, so why not see if this is where I would want to be? Nothing says you have to be stuck there. You can choose to be receptive to trying a different experience, a new roller coaster ride. Doesn't mean that it's this or that and that's it. You can create a third option, a fourth option, a fifth option. You're not stuck at just two, awful or possibly awful. There's a possible of it being amazing. So, all right, let's go that way. It's like a 50-50 chance it'll be great versus 100% that it'll be awful. Yeah, and that comes full circle to the reading. That sync came out earlier, so if that has resonance with you, it's worthwhile going back and re-listening to what was channeled there, the guidance there, because that may have, it's like a double tap I'm hearing, like a double tap of truth, like bam, bam, wisdom, wisdom. You can't miss it. It's in there. You got it. It's enlightenment. It's the view through which, like, it may really sink it home, in other words. Double tap. Oh my gosh. I definitely am channeling some military people here. I definitely am. Thanks, Dad, for the vocab. All right. With that, I'm gonna bring this reading to a close. So, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe because someone If this resonates for you in any way, shape, or form, someone at some point will need to hear this. And contributing your energy to that ripple effect adds to your good karma, adds to the pay it forward. Owning that only empowers you in finding that balance even more. And I typically don't do this as well. Another thing, I typically don't just turn them upside down and go, look, yin yang, balance. I typically don't do that. There's so many things here. The divine is wanting so badly to step in and just do this for you because they feel your pain. But yeah. The divine and the love within me sees and honors the divine and the love within you. Namaste.